red belt match. Also, loser must retire from pro wrestling match. Saya Kamitani versus Tam Nakano. Video package for this is fucking awesome. I would say to the various people that will be feuding with Malachi / Aleister Black in the future, eat your heart out when it comes to this white and black symbolism. You're never topping this. Hey, you're never topping that.
This is my favorite Tam Nakano outfit ever. It was like she was literally about to get married out there. Like when she came out for her entrance.
Yes. Now, Rich. So she has said this in interviews in the past that Tam does right. Married to the game, and also she has done this for a big part of Tam's fan domestic fandom is like the geeks and love her, right? Like she's kind of like imagine if like Liv Morgan or AJ Lee or Alexa Bliss were like one of the best wrestlers of her era. Like imagine that was the case.
According to some, they are.
Yeah, but they're delusional. So she has a group of marks, right? And she does the waifu stuff where it's like it's hard to explain. I don't know if I should even get into it. But basically she has talked about how like she wanted to run a ceremony where she gets married. I think she at Budokan Hall at some large venue or whatever else. So she comes down to the ring and she has like the wedding veil and everything, and like it's the white gear, and she has like the long train. And I'm just like, wow. She actually, from this interview that she has mentioned this silly ass thing, she has like literally attached that to this intro. I was like, this is her last match. I've heard when all this stuff happened with all the wacky shit they were doing and it lead to this match where it's like they just had a match where she leaves Stardom and then she gets another match in Stardom to get the belt back potentially. I was like, who knows what rules they may come up with. We all thought that they were going to do the thing where like one of them loses and then Sayaka, who won the Cinderella tournament, was going to use her Cinderella tournament wish to wish them back for the rule to be X'd out.
The Wishmaster.
Once she came down with that marriage shit on, with that bride shit on, I was like, oh, this is it. This is her last match. She's done.
Bro.
So
and then Saya Kamitani entrance. Aura for aura for aura for aura. Like
that's interest in pro wrestling.
Bro. Like that gave me the same feeling as when I saw Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher on the cages standing up again while Elevator was playing. It gave me the same feeling.
Rich, they had to climb a cage for that, brother. All she did was walk out.
Yep.
She wins. So I don't know if you ever really seen her interest on one of the big shows. Maybe you saw it during the Grand Queendom match they had, but like ever since she turned, really her first big entrance in a big venue was the Grand Prix final against Micah, and she came out. She had the entrance, she had the flag and the black stuff, and it was awesome. I was like, bro, this is an incredible entrance. We'll just have to see where she ends up as far as like how she makes the matches work as a heel. And Miles varied on that. She's gotten better. She keeps getting better at this. But the entrance was there since day one. The entrance, music, everything. She comes out. It is as good as any WrestleMania entrance you saw at WrestleMania the week before. And it's not a bunch of pyro. It's just some fire. But it's just her and her look and the gear and the robe, everything. It looks top of the line. She looks like $1,000,000. And all she is just she looks like the queen of the netherworld. She looks like she runs hell. It's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. And I've always loved the symbolism of, like I think I mentioned this when she turned on and when she betrayed and blew up Queen's Quest, whatever. I was like, when she screwed Micah. I was like, she screwed Micah and she was out here basically carrying this flag on her own for Queen's Quest after they broke up Queen's Quest, and then like she starts literally carrying her own flag by her own that says Queen is Queen on it. I love the symbol. I love everything about her interest. Love it. Just love it. It's the best thing going right now as far as interest. I'm sorry. So, they had her match and it's just, it turns to a slugfest in the middle of the match. Now this whole thing comes down to, for me, this is like the most emotional match in Stardom since like the Arisa and Tab match back on them years ago. Whereas like, there's a conflict, and eventually this person. Say again.
I thought of Arisa during this match.
Yeah, there's this conflict between these two, and it's heated. And ultimately, like, you find out that the person, like, one of them actually starts realizing, like, yeah, man, I actually really respect you and love you, and I've been handling this shit all the wrong way. Like, Kamitani, she does in post-match too, was like, she's a heel, she's doing the Jay White thing of like, I fail and I'm blaming everybody else but myself, right? Queen's Quest blows up, it's Tam Nakano's fault. And at least her logic makes more sense. Just it's more than childish shit. It's like, hey, you brought me into this. I didn't know I was gonna go through all this heartbreak of like people like Utami leaving me and everything. I felt deserted and whatever else. Like, if you never brought me into this world, you know, that sort of thing. Like, I never had to experience all this pain. I hate you. So they're wrestling through this match, and like a lot of this stuff when it comes to how, you know, it's kind of like a motherly thing with Tam and mother-child thing, or older sister, younger sister thing with Kamitani and Tam is like, Tam, a lot of this stuff has been like, I can't believe you turned out like this. What the fuck is wrong with you? And then Kamitani's like, this is your fault. You're the adult here. You were supposed to be the one to protect me. You didn't protect me, and I felt all these things I was supposed to feel, and now I'm acting, you know, and now I'm out here, you know, being a delinquent, you know, being a terrorist. So as this match is going on, you start seeing like Kamitani starts realizing like, I'm going to beat her.
Yep.
I don't want to retire her. I love her. And now I'm realizing like all this stuff I've done to her and I'm regretful, and then like, but I gotta win. So like at the end of it, like she beats her with this match is fucking incredible.
She pulls her up,
but
she has her dead to rights with, I forgot what move it was. Pulls her up out of the count or whatever, and then Tam basically like looks at her like, "Finish me, bitch!" Like essentially like, and then you know, whatever.
It was very ripped in this. It had some touches of like the Micah and Himeka match 2 years ago in here, whereas like Micah had her beat, but like basically kept hitting her with the move, hoping she would kick out and come back because you didn't want it to end.
The ref the ref froze before he counted 3 or whatever.
Yep. Actually, yep. And I don't know if you ever noticed this, but basically every single match that Tam's been in is started for years now. You know, there's basically 3 refs. There is Barb, basically the high-speed ref. There is Daichi, the main event ref. And then there is what I call Lil Daichi, who's like looks like Daichi. I don't know if they're related, but he looks like Daichi's young son, right? And you know, Daichi was an All Japan Women's ref. So, you know, he's notorious for his classic super slow count, or not slow count, but like the 1, 2, and then like he waits till your beat. He doesn't count at 3. He counts at basically like 3.2, right? Like he has a great near fall count, and he hit 1 and 2, and he's like. It's like, I forget, even his cadence where it's like the slow thing where it's like, he's like, I really don't want to retire her. Fuck it. 3. She's done.
Yep.
And from there you get the promo where they basically talk back and forth. And
I was gonna say before you
Kamitani says,
I was gonna say before you say that, we get into the post match. I just want to talk about kind of narratively what this like meant, kind of, because like this was the finishing school for Saya Kamitani.
Yeah.
Now, Tam graduated her at every level. Oh, you a young girl? Nah, you gonna make a decision of where you about to go. Oh, you want to win a belt? You gonna win the white belt for me?
I'll explain that. What Rich means by that is Saya was Tam's rookie. When Tam was basically a mid-carder in Stardom in 2019, she was running an idol group before the shows in Stardom where they send women or idols out to dance before the shows would start, and it was basically like a sneaky train, like get people in that idols in and try to train them to wrestle. Saya ended up being one of the people that made it, and when she debuted, quickly after she debuted, Tam took her with her and put her basically unilaterally, while being the number 2 in Stars, added her to Stars without Mayu's permission. Just said, you're in Stars, they're in Stars. They were tagged together, they're doing a dance, all these dances together and tagging. And then she finally got a future belt shot versus Utami. A really good match where she ended up losing. And then at the end, Utami says, I want you to, you know, be, you know, my right. I want you to be with me in Queen's Quest. And she tells Tam, you know, you did so much for me, but like, I think I should take this opportunity. And Tam says,
I gotta be with some folks amongst my age. Essentially, I gotta be with my generation.
Yeah. Right. And then Tam says, okay, if that's your choice, you know, I can't do everything for you, but that's your choice. Go ahead. And then, go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, I was gonna say she graduated her at every level. Now, like, you want to win a singles belt, all right. The entire white belt reign is gonna lead to you, and then you're gonna learn how to do that from me. You want to win the red belt? Oh, that's also gonna come from me too. And now this match right here is: do you want to be the ace?
Yeah.
I'm gonna show you how to be that. So this was 3 levels of this shit, and now Saya Kamitani is the ace of this company now. And this was 5 stars. Go out of your way to see this. One of the best matches of the year. And I think that, like, I enjoyed rooting against Tam Nakano a lot, just for the bit in a lot of cases or whatever. But man, just like you look at these rivalries and like these big matches that she got put into, they're just some of the best stuff that I think people have ever put together in wrestling. Like, and just like, she was great to be on the other side of, like, just because like whoever she was with were people I liked, essentially, was whether it was Kamitani, whether it was Arisa from day one or whatever, whether it was Julia or whatever. Like, so it was just like she was always on the other side, so I'll miss her.
That's the nicest thing you ever said about one of my favorite wrestlers on this show, Rich. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And now we can pack her the fuck up.
It only took you 6 years for her to have all these matches with all your favorite wrestlers for you to realize that she was a common denominator in all of it. Now,
shout out to
I gave this match 5 stars.
Pulled up for that L, Vilkish.
Yeah. Now I gave this match 5 stars. This is the first match I've ever given Tam Nakano match 5 stars. I've given her 3 or 4, 4 3/4. This one gets all the way over. I think that, as Rich mentioned, like, the long form storytelling of this is just, this is 6 years in the making, basically, almost 6 years in the making. Outside of maybe, I don't know, Rich, outside of maybe Kenny Omega and Hangman Page, and even then, I think Tam did more. I don't think I've ever seen one star wrestler say, I will leverage everything in my star power as I'm rising from mid-card to top star, or one of the top stars, to make sure that the future will be my handpicked protege.
I'm say Tanahashi and Okada, but I'm with you.
Was okay. I mean, you that's definitely one of them. But the part, as you mentioned, throughout this whole thing over 5 years, this woman, I think Tam Nakano has beaten Saya Kamitani in 2 singles matches ever. I think 2 ever. And the first one was like a month in when she was a rookie wearing that green skirt. So yeah, she has look, I think it's one of the great, like, I see something in someone, they have the drive to become that, and I'm gonna do everything in my power to empower them to become that person. And I mean,
and make some damn money with them too.
Yeah, and it ain't just Tam, it's Utami also, right? But those two, going back to, that, I think it's February 2020, before the pandemic, like, the go-to, like, these two are the fork and roll moment for her to decide, and both of them, Utami and Kamitani, through the Aphrodite tag team, to that cage match from a couple years ago, and all the stuff we mentioned with Tam, and also, look, also the Budokan Hall semi event, all that stuff was, hey, we are going to make sure this one, we're gonna make it. And yeah, it's one of those things where you look up and realize, like, was the last 5 years, even with the Tam and Julia stuff, the Shuri Utami stuff, the Mayu title reign. Did we just miss it? Like, you look up and all of a sudden, like, yo, she's the ace now. It was kind of just always there for her to become this. We never really saw it until now because, Tommy's in Marigold, Julia's in Marigold / NXT, WWE, Tam's retiring, Mayu is leaving. Now it's like, even if these people were still around, this was going to happen. This was always going to happen. She was always going to be her and Utami were supposed to be the two bridge people to get to the golden generation, that whatever else, to get to the Starlight Kids and the Zoomies and whatever else. But like, it's just now, and they were going to have their feud, but it didn't happen. But now it's like, all right, well, Utami's gone. It's just you now. There is no co-ace thing. You're the ace. And like, over the year from, the title change in December to the February, or sorry, the early March Crooked Hall match to this, is like, they have beaten you over the head. Saya Kamitani is now the one. She's the ace. It is what it is. And look, it's great. Kamitani gets 5 stars. Tam Nakano gets 5 stars. Dave Meltzer finna give Tam Nakano a 3rd, 5th star match in like 3 months. Tam Nakano is finna turn Dave Meltzer into a feminist, Rich.
Hey, are you gonna write the Hall of Fame case
for Tam Nakano?
I don't see nobody else that should.
Look. I will say this. I will help JD with it, whatever else. But I'm pretty sure one of us two gonna write it. You go through these attendances. She main evented both Yokohama Arena shows, over 5,000, both based on her main eventing. Budokan Hall show, she main evented that as well. I think the Grand Prix, the highest attended Grand Prix, that her and Julia, and everyone knew that was going into, that was gonna be the final. She obviously main evented that. I think like the four or 5 of them, I forgot. Pepsi Wrestling tweeted out, was like, she's in the main event of like 4 of the 5 are all 5 of the biggest drawing events in Stardom history. I don't know, obviously she was always one of the highest merch sellers in the company, always one of the most popular. Cosmic Angel's always winning in the fan vote stuff, whatever else. I don't know how much material stuff that does. I don't want to turn into people, talking about merch sales in that kind of way when it comes to Japan, because I don't know the numbers. But like, if there's anybody that has a shot out of Stardom, right now, I would say it would be Mayu, Watani, or her. I don't think Mayu's going to get it, because when Stardom blew up, Mayu was a main eventer, but she wasn't a top star. Cam's been the top star the past 5 years, or 4 years. So, I don't know what kind of case she really has or whatever else, but I mean, if we are here putting, some of the stuff we've seen for why people should get in, I mean, she moved 2,000 tickets basically. In theory, her retirement moved 2,000 tickets.
Right.
So,
and before people, see this clip and think you're crazy, scale the promotion, and then multiply that shit.
Yeah, because you also have to adjust for size of the country, size of the region, and all that kind of stuff. Like the stuff for like why people would get observer candidacy in like work in Memphis was because of per capita stuff. Well, when you adjust for Japan versus America, number 2 promotion in the company, in the country, 7,500 tickets. That's a lot of tickets. Like, also account for
percentages and then figure it out. Be like, oh, this person popped a 25% increase. Like, if we throw you on a show, like under your step, that stuff.
Yeah,
yeah. Shout out to Kamitani, top star, as I always kind of called that she would be one day.
I will point this out before we get to this, right? I would, if it were me, I would tell a slow burner her turn babyface away from hate right now. I would do it over the span of this, given like what the babyface heel dynamic of the roster is looking, the opponent she has.
Yep. Looks like James muted. He is just fixing this real quick. If you're hearing this, get your merch. But yeah, a lot of comments in the crowd or in the chat saying the best thing for Saya's career was Utami leaving. James is still muted if you're trying to talk to me. Zach Mike says, since the EO match, Utami has plateaued and looks checked out. That is the common sentiment. I don't hear much buzz about her anymore. And Word Starwin says, Baron Von Raschke, Utami was clearly outclassed in that match. Zach Maki says, I know a friend that went to Wrestle Kingdom when her and Kyrie had their match. They said Tam's merch sold quick. And Word Starwin also says that Saya babyface ace run can be very special. Yeah, man. The reason that I like Saya Kamitani so much as a babyface, and I kind of took it hard when she turned, and I was just like, I was upset about it because like she always had like this earnest kind of like dopey, nerdy kind of aesthetic to her or whatever, but it was like really engaging. I thought she was a hero like underneath all that. And then, they did the switch and all that. And, people have liked it. They've rebirthed a unit around her. And she's, she proved me wrong at least. But I think, at the end of the day, she's going to be a killer babyface the day they flip her. So I'll probably be right in the end too. So, James, are you back? I cannot hear you, sir. So I will keep talking. But it's getting brought up in the comments. Velka is saying she's still earnest even as a heel. It's interesting. Yeah, she'll cry on a dime. She definitely still wears her emotions on her sleeve. You can tell in the press conferences. You can also look at how she wrestles this match against Tam Nakano. There is something repressed inside this woman. So it is a hell of a story, even in an isolated set. I think even if you didn't have all the lore behind all of this and have the years of backstory, you could drop in, look at the person coming out looking like they're ready to get married, and then the other one looking like they worship in the group that worships or leading the group that worships the devil. You can take it like that, and then you can clearly figure out the rest. Between the bells, what these people mean to each other, what it really almost isn't even about the championship. It's about each other. So, and it's a career versus career match. So I think they did a good job dropping seeds of doubt there. I thought that there was a chance Saya Kamitani could retire because this is Joshi. Nothing is taken for granted as far as like who's going to be available, who's going to wrap it up early. I'll never forget seeing like, the news. Yeah, man, Arissa's just never coming back. She's just been zapped into the Phantom Zone. So I don't know, man. I think that this is success all around. 7,500 plus tickets, and really a show that I think if you have not watched Stardom or anything, or it's been a while, there's another perfect place to jump in with this show. These shows don't come all the time. Sometimes it's like, oh man, I'm in the middle of this tour, I quite don't know what's happening. Stuff like that. I think James is on the way back. Yes, he
hear
is.
Me?
I can hear you now, sir.
Okay.
Don't worry. I kept it going like a true pro. So
yeah, I see that. What happened was I accidentally unplugged, like, because I have the USB like wire next to my hand. So I actually unplugged it, and then like once it unplugged, it's like, oh,
nope.
Shit also stops like everything stopped recording.
Oh, wow.
And then like so I had to stop the podcast and shut it down. So I had to grab the audio and fix that part and re-record everything. But let me start pressing record again. Get this fit back right. But yeah, I had to had to turn everything off. Had to save the shit, or X out. Had to refresh on the Discord and then come back in. So yeah, as you mentioned, I heard you say basically everything about like you liked, a big part of why you were down on Stardom was like they turned her heel and she had this quality. And you mentioned this when it happened, when we had that one clip from the summer where it's like, what the hell are they doing? We were just, I mean, they had a plan. It didn't seem like it at the time. So, but yeah, like I think that like given the way this match went, I think the smart thing would be like to turn her babyface like slowly and get her away from hate, because like you look at the Bret Hart thing of like, look, all right, no Tam, Micah's off the table for a while, Mayu's gone, who's she gonna face? And it's like, all right, she's a heel, those would be the top babyface for her to face. She did that with Tam to death. So you have to go back to Micah. Micah's gone, Mayu's gone. So who's she gonna face in these big shows? Is like Starlight Kid is, and I think that for the future, like Starlight Kid and Kamitani is a huge thing because those are two biggest merch movers now, and like they had their white belt stuff right from a couple years ago. So it's like, all right, you can get to that, but right now she's the white belt champion, so that's down the line. So who's she gonna face? Shuri has the IWGP Women's title, and I think like people like Suzuki. Say again.
Momo Watanabe, King of the North. Right.
Momo makes sense. Suzu makes sense, even though it already happened. But you actually build a program towards it now. There's maybe more of a grudge. But I think turning her babyface would make the most sense over time. Obviously not immediately, but like when you end the match by beating Tam with her own move, the Twilight Dream is like, oh, it's kind of similar to the Angel Wings thing with Hangman. Like that's gonna be her move now. So it's like, all right. If the storyline was you went through all this stuff trying to find yourself as a way to cope with, Utami leaving, and then you had this match with Tam, and ultimately you realize like Tam always loved you and you loved her and you just didn't appreciate it at the time because you were so angry about how this stuff went, and now like you kind of regret retiring her. It's like, well, this is the path towards fixing some of this. It's like you see the error of your ways and you try to make it right. Now that, what's happened, you can't change that, but, find the path forward. So, like, it's interesting, like, with Kamitani, it was like, when she was a white belt champion, it was basically this match is hot match. The storylines were really there, and then, like, the last 2 years with her, like, she's absolutely become one of the better storytellers in pro wrestling.
We'll go back to that cage
her and
match.
Tommy and her and this Tam stuff. She is definitely, as you mentioned, the graduation thing is definitely a part of it. Yeah, I think,
like you give it you give it another year or so, people be ready to die for Saya Kamitani. It's coming.
I mean, look,
if not, we already.
Me and you were both like, hey man, she's gonna be after she lost that white belt. We were like, yo, she's gonna be a red belt champion in no time. We both said that, and it's here, and it's better. It's working better than we ever thought it would. So
big comment from Niagara Driver says, wow, when you consider Saya was basically entrusted with the legacies of Queen's Quest, Odeyo Tai, and now Tam, they have served this all to her. That's a great point.
Yeah, because they completely packed up that Oedo Tai shit and made it hate, and it look the way that hate merch moves is crazy. It moves. That Oedo Tai shit when it was purple, it was not moving. That hate moves.
It's easy to sell some hate.
Remember I told you, like, I want to buy a hate shirt so bad, but I can't wear it nowhere. Where else am I wear that shit?
They'll be asking you if you think every election is free and fair. Like,
yeah. Hey, also, so they put out remember the Queen Phoenix shirt?
Yeah.
They put it out on sale again and it sold out. A second printing sold out. They came out with a second Kamitani shirt. That shit's almost sold out or already has sold out. Like, all this Tam and Kamitani and Starlight Kid merch was moving off the shelves in the last few months. So, they just sold 2,000 more tickets than they ever have for any other show. They on fire right now. And them Corkin halls are selling out all the time.
Yeah. So I guess I have to wrap up Stardom and all that. I had